What's up, good people? What's up, good people? It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder. Welcome to the brand new suite. Y'all know what we do is talk to me, tell the truth Tuesday. What we want you to do on this Tell the Truth Tuesday, we're going to talk to you about what we've been talking about all this week, and that is protect your brand. The legal side of branding is what we're going through this week, because we want to make sure that you as an entrepreneur, you as an organization, are protected and protected in the right way, because you don't want to find yourself protected in the wrong way, which you want to make sure. So we're going over these different ways that you as a brand need to be protected. So today, let's get into what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to be talking about today, form the proper business entity. You want to make sure that you are formed in the proper entity, because if you aren't formed in the proper entity, then that could mean trouble for you as well. So you want to make sure that you're formed in the correct property, because a powerful brand requires more than a logo. It's more than just your logo. It is more than just, a logo sitting on your website. It's more than just a logo sitting on a banner and everything like that. It actually entails more than that. It requires structure. And that structure is begins with the entity that you choose to file your business under, or your organization under. Many entrepreneurs operate like a hobby, and they, while expecting enterprise level results. You can't operate like a hobby and expect enterprise like results. It will not happen. It can't happen, because you won't be serious. You won't be taken serious. And as a result of that, legal ramifications can come of that. There's plenty of examples of people who have not taken their organization seriously, and as a result of not taking their organization serious or following the correct entity, being an entity, you're seeing people, it can happen where that organization, that business has failed, has fallen. And here in the brand new suite, we will not allow you to fall, to falter, or to fail. If we want to make sure, we're going to equip you with the knowledge and the information and the resources that you need in order to be able to be successful. But also, what I always say, to equip you to master your craft, to master your industry, and master the marketplace at an elite level. And operating at an elite level is part of that, is having and forming the proper business entity that you have. Let's talk about a couple of things. Too many businesses expose themselves to unnecessary liability, and because they never establish the proper legal foundation. And we want to make sure by the end of this week that you understand your proper legal foundation. What's the legal foundation that you need to be covered under? And what's the legal, what are the benefits of it? Could be the drawbacks of it? Because there are a few foundational entities that you can file under, but you have to find the one that's best for you. We can't tell you what that one is. We can go over the information with you, but we cannot tell you what that is. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not here to tell you what's what's best legally for you. That's what the attorneys do. Now we do have legal representation that we partner with. We do have them so that you are able to understand and know what's the best entity for you to be able to use. So let's talk about a couple of these things. Let's talk about these entities. And what do I mean by entities? I'm talking sole proprietorship, I'm talking LLC, and I'm talking corporations. Those are the three. And you want to make sure that you understand what each of those are, because if you don't understand what each of those are, then you can't possibly know which one best benefits you. Now, I don't have time to go into each of these, but the sole proprietor, sounds just like it is. So it's individual. The LLC, that's as a corporation, it protects you. There's certain legal ramifications, and the attorney can go over more in detail with that. And we can too, to give you the legal definitions of them. And then the corporation, there's benefits and drawbacks to each of them. So you want to make sure that you have a clear understanding. Y'all know we're about clarity here. Clear understanding of which one best fits your business, that best fits your brand. Which structure impacts credibility? Why structure impacts credibility? Because if you aren't seen as a legal structure, then you have no credibility. We've seen that in lately on social media, where you had someone who felt as if they did not have to show their legal structure, so that they had the ability to be able to operate at a certain capacity, and it impacted and has impacted their credibility. Their credibility has been totally shot. Now, of course, there's some people that it don't matter with them, but to me, those are the minority. If you're going to operate as a legal entity, you must do the proper filing, proper paperwork, all of those things necessary by your state, whatever state that you're in order to be able to legally be seen as a business, in order to be able to legally be seen, so that you protect yourself and everything. This is all about protection. This is all about protecting you, protect your brand. That is the first thing that I tell clients, is you always must protect your brand. And that you are part of that brand. That means having, and we'll get into this in a second, where you're separating you, the person, from you, the business, and having a wall there, so that you as the individual can't be impacted or come after, because you have the correct entity that you filed in order to be able to protect you. And then even within a company or organization, that is protected, so that there is nothing that can happen to the corporation, and it's always protected. The brand is always protected. And you want to separate your personal from your business assets. Yeah, if it's a business asset, it stays a business asset. If it's a business asset, it stays a business asset. If it's a personal asset, it stays a personal asset. And neither shall the two ever be intertwined. You got to be very mindful and very careful, because when you in doing this, because no matter how many times we say it, there's still occurrences where something happens, because whether it's just trying to save money, or they can't afford to to separate them at the time, and you're waiting, and then something happens in the interim until you're able to separate the two. So you want to make sure that you protect yourself by properly separating them, and making sure that you have, if it's supposed to be an account for your personal, it's a personal account. If it's supposed to be an account for your business, that it's a account for your business. And that way there's no confusion. That way with the IRS, there's no confusion with any investors. There's no confusion. You're able to be able to show, they won't have to worry about your personal assets. They can take a look at what the business is worth and all of those things, and find out whether or not it's worth investing. So you want to protect yourself by separating your business assets and your personal assets. And then protecting yourself from unnecessary risk. When you have a business entity, you want to make sure that you are actually, when you have that business entity, you'll find yourself not having to, or you shouldn't be going into unnecessary risk. That means taking things that, had you had the entity, you wouldn't be at risk, because you have the business entity, you have an understanding of it, and you know what the risks are, and you aren't taking unnecessary risks, where, like we just talked about, having the accounts intermingled. If they're intermingled, or you don't separate the business and personal, then what happens, you're putting yourself in at risk. But unnecessary risk would mean, hey, I filed the type of entity that I needed to file as. I'm protected on the business front. I'm protected on the personal front. And that way you aren't taking unnecessary risk for yourself. You aren't taking unnecessary risk for your business. And as you one of the things that we offer for the entrepreneur briefcase is going to be life insurance, business insurance, those kinds of things along with the entity here to make sure that you are covered, that you don't take unnecessary risk, and that as you understand what's business, what's personal, and then how each of those factor in, and you have it separated the correct way, you don't have the unnecessary risk that you could be put in if you didn't have the correct entity. And then the last thing is positioning your business for growth. If you don't have the proper entity, you will find yourself being put out there and taking the unnecessary risk. You have a lot of people that a lot of entrepreneurs who start businesses and they grow faster than what they anticipated, and they don't make sure that all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed to make sure that the business, that the organization is covered for that growth. Hey, the larger you get, the more you grow, the more protection you will need. If you have to go from from an LLC to an S corp or C corp, then you're able to be able to do that because you have a clear understanding of what the LLC does, what the S corp does, and the proper coverage for each of those. And even now, you can go from a sole proprietor to an LLC to a C corp, but you cannot go from a C corp or S corp to a sole proprietor. It doesn't work like that. You can go forward, you can't go back. Okay, or so you want to make sure that you have the proper understanding and you position your brand for growth. And that means you have to pay attention throughout the year. In a couple of weeks, at the end of this month, we'll be doing the 6-month checkup. We're going to be doing the 6-month checkup as we do every year to make sure that we are positioning ourselves for not only the rest of this year, but we're positioning ourselves for 5 years from now, 10 years from now, taking a look and understanding, hey, what is the growth potential? Where is it that we are now? Where is it that we see ourselves going? Is there going to be a necessary growth from a entity standpoint? So taking a look at those. What happens is you want to look at, without structure, growth becomes dangerous. So as you're looking at how you should grow, you want to make sure that you understand that without the structure in place, you're putting yourself at unnecessary risk. You're putting the organization in a position where it becomes not as it becomes not protected. It becomes not covered. It becomes, so you want to make sure that you have these structures in place, that you have the insurance in place. That's a vital part of this as well too. Not only the entity structure, but also what insurance do you need in order to be properly covered as an individual and as the as the entity or organization. Okay. So the last thing, with that, with the structure and the growth dangers, what you want to look at is you want to prepare, which means preparing is being um, uh, properly knowing what business entity filing, what business entity you are. Then you want to position. You're going to prepare. You position yourself, because now that you got the entity, you now are positioned to be able to do the things that you want to do in the industry. You can do the things that you want to do in the marketplace. And then you want to produce. You want to be able to produce at that level. And you want to make sure that those that you want to do business with have an understanding that you are properly positioned to be able to produce what it is that you say that you're offering to them. Because understand, it's offer, you make the offer to produce and to deliver what it is that you're going to be able to do. When you do that, but you can't do that if you're not properly prepared and if you're not properly positioned as a legal entity. So here's your homework, and that I need you to do. I need you to look at, and I want you to answer this question. Is your business legally structured for where you're going, or only where you are today? And if you are looking to be able to be structured and positioned for where you're going, then you want to have a conversation with us. That's where you can schedule that strategy session. We can have that conversation about your vision and where how we can assist you to be able to bring that to reality, making sure that your business is that you have the business structure in place. And that goes from having your business model, your business plan, well, properly in place, but then also the third part of that is being properly filed as a bit, what type of business entity that you are, or are you just for right now? And even if you are just structured for right now, what is it going to take for you because of where you're trying to go to? What do you need to do in order to be able to position and place yourself in the right in the right place to be able to do that? So that's what I got for you today. Be properly filing, forming the proper business entity, forming that proper business entity. Like I mentioned, you can schedule your calendar. The information is right. The strategy session. The information is right in the description. We can take a look at it. We can have that conversation with you, and make sure that you are prepared. That's the talk to you. That's the talk to me. Tell the truth Tuesday about protecting your brand. I'm the Impact Builder. We'll be right back here tomorrow. Don't forget, check out the YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share, and comment. I want you to share this with another entrepreneur, another organization that you believe can benefit from this information that we're talking about here. Don't forget, join us Friday. The masterclass is back. Last week we had the masterclass, but for the Character Driven Leadership Cafe. That's there. You can actually, it's on the LinkedIn if you want to go check that out, but also it's also in it's on the Character Driven Leadership, or will be in the Character Driven Leadership YouTube channel. You can go check that out there as well. So that's what I got for you today. Impact Builder. Peace out.